Future trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I am Cody. He is Andy. For reference, it is May 18th, about 3:10 Central Time.
How are you?
Dude, I'm doing. Just like these charts we're about to look at, I'm doing.
They're about as red as your head after a motorcycle ride.
It is not pretty right
Put
now.
some sunscreen on this market. Let's go.
Let's go. Speaking of some sunscreen.
What do you want to start with? We done
I was saying,
CME
speaking
cheese?
of some sunscreen, how about some CME cheese here?
Yeah, Black Barrel Average. So
And you haven't touched this one since we talked last, right?
I just moved the line just now. That's it.
Right.
But obviously this number has been, what is this, like 140? What's this low right here? Right here. Bam. Just call it 143.5 and some change. Yep. 143. Haven't seen a settle below that since 2020.
Correct.
Right. I mean, we haven't seen that since. God, you remember this move, by the way? When
I do.
We went from like near record lows to record highs in like 3 weeks. Yikes.
Yeah.
Bam. Yeah. I mean, like this is, right up against the support. Futures have a gigantic premium, built into this. The futures are saying no go, but every day we keep leaking lower. Oh, what do you think? I mean, it's kind of do or die time. We're getting down to this, low 43s.
Well, it is, and I mean, we circled it a long time ago, and we keep going back to it. But that
right
first
there,
yep, $1.30 cheese is what you have circled there.
That gap has never been filled.
It is not. If you go below there, you've got one at 120, and then down below, I don't even want to mention this, but 110.
You are a dairy farmer by trade, right?
True.
Yeah, so you don't want to mention this one down here.
I don't want to mention any of those three, but they are sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is, right? And so and what's interesting too is that we crossed over here, took a shot at when we rallied back here. What was this at the end of March? I mean, this just got completely rejected, and now it feels like the momentum is just clearly driving itself lower. Yeah, I mean it's not that far away, right? We settled 147 today. Got another day this week. But what would be, I think, the worst, I don't say worst case, but like when I think about this chart, like this low from just this week, that's about 145.25-ish. So Let's say we settled the average another 2 cents lower. I think what would be really difficult for this chart would be is if, you think about, we tried to rally earlier this week, failed, and then if we settle on the lows, right? And so that's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
So let's say we did that, and shoot, I mean, like the next step would have to be testing this, this price that we just haven't been able to get through since 2020. So again, futures carrying a pretty big premium to that number. Gosh, I mean, what are some of these cheese prices out forward? October, 195. So October is saying by Halloween we're going to be right up here. That's how big of a difference that we're seeing in futures out forward.
And at some point, there's got to be some kind of a convergence.
Well, yeah, for sure. I think, like I said, I think, tomorrow's close. Did we close on the low of the week after attempting a small rally earlier in the week? That would be, I think, pretty tough. And then if we get an open lower next week, it wouldn't even be that much. I mean, you wouldn't have to move that much next week in order to get through all this stuff, all this noise right here. I think if we did that, you'd see a substantial amount of that carry just get taken out of the market, right? People are just looking at it and saying, like, my gosh, there's, 50 plus cents a pound sitting on the table here in terms of difference. You got to sell something.
Correct.
So, yeah, to be determined. But I think tomorrow's close, going to be a big one. Do we close on the lows? After attempting to rally, that's a sign of weakness. We shall see. We'll see. I don't know. We got a weekend. This is June. So June's a 4-weeker, right? 3. Yes, sir. June is a 4-weeker, right?
That is correct. Yep, 4-week pricing month. Check out Bases Loaded. Joe Schmidt. He can go a little farther in depth on that one.
Check out Bases Loaded. Big block number yesterday too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Massive block number, yeah.
Current cash, no premiums, 14.45. Yikes. Hang on. I have to move the chart down to get down there. Hang on. There we go.
Look at that. Look at that discrepancy.
That's where spot is right now. No premiums. Add in 7-8 cents. And you're talking about that be 70 cents, call it 60, 70 cents, 100. You're talking more like kind of around here-ish, give or take, right? I mean, so there's room still to break. Let's say cash just sits here and does nothing. Or if we go lower, I mean, you've got some room here from, like the pricing standpoint, but also too, just look at the chart. I mean, we had this big break here. This is from 17 down to 16 basically.
Yeah.
And you had a little bit of a pennant form that just, new contract lows after that. That's a weak close. And you've got some room to make up in terms of where the market could be, quote, after 1 week of trading, given a, 7-8 cent premium included in the NEPSR. So yeah, I mean, steady to lower cash, and you just got to keep chipping away at June here, I think.
So what it seems like. That's exactly what it seems like is happening right now.
I guess the only alarm bells that are starting to ring a little bit is that it crossed into oversold territory down here in the RSI, but that's a secondary indicator, right? I mean, you use that as a means of kind of confirming, a chart pattern. But in this case, I mean, you just, again, closed into new lows and did it on really good volume today too. 1,165 cars.
Yep.
That's a lot, especially when you think about, you think about how much we've moved here, and then you see a big volume day. What do you think open interest does tomorrow?
I think open interest probably grows, because the interesting thing is a lot of this volume came after spot. It wasn't necessarily before, but a lot of this was after the cheese session had closed, and then we kind of went into the rest of our day. That's where you got a majority of this volume and the follow through here.
We've seen a lot of the June-July spread going off. I mean, today that was 446 June-July right here, this number. And then another 175 of the cheese one went off today too. So it seems like that's rolling June shorts forward into July. I think what would be interesting is if, the buy side of that, obviously liquidating June shorts, but it's that new selling that they're buying from.
Correct.
So that could be a really interesting, let's say to your point, June class 3 open interest is higher tomorrow. I think you can safely say that of the 1,100 that traded today, 446 were liquidating, right, from the long side.
Right.
So if that's new shorts, let's say June open interest was unch, that would be new selling into that buying. That's a sign of weakness. So yeah, no, this will be. I think we got to be really cognizant of any sort of. It feels like anytime we get any sort of, uptick in cash or just sign that the sellers aren't going to be there in cash. I think you're going to be subject to, just a short covering rally, right?
Right.
If we got that, what would you want to do?
Short covering rally at this point, where current cash is at, I think you'd want to be a very careful seller into that, honestly.
Okay.
Like you had mentioned, you got current spot at 14.45.
Yep, right here.
Futures
No premiums.
No premiums. Futures at $16. You get a rally to 16.50, give or take. Kind of like the same thing we had talked about in May, actually, right? We talked about if you have a short covering rally and you get a little bit of a bump there, it would be something to probably look into selling. Yeah. And that was the right move.
Yeah. Can't disagree. So again, check out Joe Schmidt, Basis Loaded. You can learn a little bit more about our pricing month. But yeah, I mean, and obviously this will continue to break if we get into like a, like I said, $1.40 cheese number we haven't seen since 2020. Yeah. So, but yeah, keep an eye on open interest tomorrow. That'll be an interesting number. If it's lower, that means, obviously longs liquidating, or shorts liquidating by buying, but then that would also mean that some of the sellers also folks just throwing in the towel and liquidating too. So open interest declining is typically not a good indication or confirmation of price direction. So if we see open interest build after today's trade, it's confirmation of the direction of price. So we shall see. It's just been a doozy.
No feeders. Man,
no
I'll tell you what.
Feeders. Still haven't touched any of this stuff.
Kudos to you, my friend. You hit this one nail right on the head.
Well, according to Bilbo, I didn't, but that's a horse of another color there. We'll put a pin in Bilbo here for now.
That's right. He's got a chart coming up that he requested.
Yeah, he's got one. We'll circle back on old Bilbo, but yeah, no, I mean, I haven't touched this stuff. Any of these, like we've talked about the LA Wave here for a little while now. This breakout right here after today, I mean, that's strong like bull.
Yes.
So I don't think there's much really to add here, other than I think you got to be really cognizant of this price level. What is this? It's just 247. Yeah, I think you start to get up there, especially if it accelerates really quickly, meaning like kind of like this, rather than like this kind of noise right here where it took a while to rally. That's like an acceleration like that, I think would be kind of like an exhaustion move, which is typically what you see in the fifth and final wave in these patterns. So yeah, new high close. This could be wave 5, the exhaustion wave, but coming in hot.
Yep. Watch out for that, just in case it starts running out of steam at 247. Which, if we
Watch
get up there,
out.
I mean, you would expect a little bit of pullback potentially.
I think so. I mean, like you saw it here,
Right.
right? I mean, like this is, I think about this type of chart, like what we've seen in milk, where milk will run in the 20 handle, and any sort of sign of weakness, just bears jump out the window. Bulls tend to walk up the stairs. So, I think you'll see something like this. It's just, do you crack through this, the downtrend and continue and retrace? I think the big thing would be is if you retraced all of wave 5, that would be, a pretty clear sign that the trend is done. So, but we got to go do this first. So we'll see. But
Sure.
new high close, looking good. Last but not least,
from our great colleague Bilbo, he wanted to look at
great
Dec Corn
colleague
today.
Bilbo.
See, we are rubbing
for
off
those-
on people.
Yeah, no, I mean he hit the nail on the head. I mean he said it was going lower after it went lower. So, I guess we need to have some sort of follow up, circle back, pin in it. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, this is like you like this one. I think our call was at right here. We wanted to be a buyer with a stop on this low at 512.25. So we would have gotten stopped out and lost money there, right?
Correct.
The question is, what do you do from here? That's a tough one.
It is. It's tough. I think the interesting thing is you drop below $5 now 2 days in a row, and today settled above $5 in Dec Corn. Now, is that a tell that we've completely turned this market around? Not so much, but the fact that the bears can't keep it below $5 for more than 2 days in a row on quite a bit of volume. I mean, look at the wicks on these candles. There seems to be a little turning of the tide here.
I mean, I think I'd want to be really mindful of like kind of like almost like a U, like a swing almost. Like if tomorrow's open is where was this open? $4.99 even. Say we open at $5 tomorrow. Yep. You'd open higher than yesterday's open. So you closed within yesterday's body of the candle, right? Let's blow this up a little bit. So you close within the body of yesterday's candle, and then let's say you open higher. That's a potential swing. That's an indication that the bears are running out of gas here. You've got the RSI that would confirm that, because this would come out of oversold territory. And then I think the kicker would be is if you close this bad boy over 0, right? So you'd be back into positive momentum. That is what I'd be super mindful of. But I mean, I'm no expert like Bilbo. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you might want to reach out to him to find out where Dec Corn is going. Make sure you ask him after the close so he can tell you what happened during the session. But
good at looking previous.
Correct.
We're working on looking for that part. But we're getting there.
Correct.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. We got to start. Yeah. Well, we got to start somewhere. So, but yeah, I mean, I think until you get something like that, then you got to be just careful, taking your licks, and if you're looking to own it, have a tight stop, like what we talked about here, right? We look, the chart was pointing towards a potential buy, no go, but we get stopped out at 512. You're not taking it. All of a sudden you're not riding it down to $5.
Right.
You live to fight another day.
It's true. Live to fight another day.
You'll get that. You'll polish that hammer up.
You know what?
Polish the hammer up.
I'll talk to Bilbo tonight and get a little feel for it. Maybe next episode we can be a little bit more bullish on Dec Corn, depending on what his prerogative is of the market.
We can start calling Dec Corn his precious, by the way, or something like that.
Right. Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Tech Talk for Andy and I. But before we go, we have some new and exciting news from Ever.Ag Insights team. The Insights portal is now live, everybody. On the portal, you can find all of our shows, just like Tech Talk, just like Bases Loaded, as well as any of the publications that might have been sent out through email. If you don't feel like digging through those emails, just go right to our portal and you can find it right there. The way to get there, check it out. Insights.ever.ag will bring you right to the portal. If you have any questions, please reach out to one of us. We would be more than happy to direct you how to get there. With that said, it's an exciting day.
I have to say, you should have your own radio show. I mean, you've already got a face for radio. So, but that, your outro right there, phenomenal. I mean,
that was a one-shot wonder. I didn't even practice that.
I mean,
one shot.
For those at home that didn't realize that was one take. That was it.
Paige sent it over. I said, hey, I'll do it one time. That's all I got. Just like Tech Talk. We're one-shot wonders. We love it. Awesome. With that, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you had a great time, as much fun as Andy and I do. Until next week, have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.